It's a showcase event. So we have brought together teams from Michigan, Ohio, Illinois, Indiana, sorry, not Indiana, Tennessee, that was one I was missing. So just some of the better teams in the nation. We actually have 6 teams in the top 26 in the nation here today. So this should be an extremely competitive team event. So you'll see a lot of great teams. You'll see a lot of great matches. So thank you and welcome. We will be going first off with practice matches. One, to give the teams a feel for the fields. Most of them have never played on these fields before, so it helps. And also, a lot of them have had a couple of weeks since they've had a tournament, whether it's the state tournament or any others. So just to give them a quick little reminder if anything's wrong with their robot or if anything's going on. So that's where we're at, and we will be back in a few minutes. We're going to go to a commercial here, and then when we come back, we'll be running practice matches. We'll get through our practice matches. For practice match number 1. Making a match skill.
Here you go.
Thanks. Could I have a qualifying one too?
Awesome. No, only practice. Here you go.
Thank you. Thanks, Maury.
So practice match number 1 today is 7567C and 244B. That's your red alliance. Your blue alliance is 248A and 248E.
Oh wait, I need to do this. I need to put our sound back. Oh, it's back on. Huh. Oh, put this back here. Put this up. All right, so welcome back. This will be our first practice match. We have 7567C. They are joining us today from Grand Traverse Academy up in Traverse City, Michigan. They're on the Red Alliance. Also on the Red Alliance is 244B. That is It Eventually Yet? They're from Grandville, Michigan. They are going against Blue. 248A is another Grandville. That's world qualified. And 248E, another Grandville, and that is the Stardust Creators. So we're getting ready. Will not be running our usual Grandville pace today. You will notice that you will have actual time between matches. We are only using one field today for matches. The other field is set up for skills. So it's a much more relaxed tournament going on. So we will be a little slower pace than you've probably seen if you've seen any other Grandville tournaments before.
We don't particularly like the play-by-play within the stadium because it really gives the strategy away to a lot of the kids when somebody is sitting there saying, oh my gosh, they just got that red goal.
So right now, that is our head referee, Steve. He is giving the teams information on what's going. Also, we do have a couple people in the stands, most of the coaches and stuff. We do not let them sit in the pits. They actually have to sit in the stands and watch what's going on. So they will be watching what's going on here. So he's given a bit of a lowdown. Also, quite a few of the teams, if they're not doing anything right now, they will actually go sit in the stands.
We are missing one team, but that's okay. We'll run the practice match with only 3.
So we're going to see what we're doing right now. We got 3 teams here. A lot of it is to check the field and to check the robots. So we might be short of a looks like we're short one team. So they're just going to run it because it's practice. They aren't that worried about it. So the other team might be in line for skills. I'm not sure where they are right now, actually. So all right, looks like the referees are almost in agreement. So they're checking their tablets and they're for making sure it's all ready to go.
That's okay. It's just a practice match. Call.
Oh. No, they're in a world. They've got an interview for Worlds. That's going on right now.
They are actually in the World Championship.
So forgot about that. One of the teams is in the. A lot of the teams here are qualified for World, and so they are actually in a meeting for Worlds right now because it is online. It is not. They're doing their Worlds interview. So unfortunately, that is right now. They're out of luck. So hopefully they're in another. As it turns out, they're in a second. All right. So, one sec. That's the other reason why we do this for practice is we make sure we don't miss anything. So we had a no start and we had no sound. So we're getting it figured out. All right.
We now have movies. We've got that. We don't have the line in at the moment.
I don't know why I wouldn't have gone. Do you want to
Uh-oh.
boot that thing?
That's okay. We'll figure it out.
Can you just try to start up from there?
Yeah.
Go ahead. All right, we're going to try to start from the computer. I actually don't think it'll work, but we'll see. So we're going to start on.
All right, let's see what this happens. See if we can do it from the computer.
Okay.
So we got sounds, but the field didn't start. So the clock started. One clock started. Let's see what. Oh, clock stopped. So we're still figuring out.
There we go. I'm working on it.
Is the pie turned on?
Yes.
That is the video.
Yep. I just did it.
All right. So they're double checking a few things. So this is the other reason for practice.
I just realized.
I need to know what IP it is.
So we'll get this reset up. So we're probably going to go to a commercial for a second while we get this fixed. Or maybe not. We'll see if it's fast.
144 main field. Click on the top one. Main field.
That's working.
See if we can start it up again.
You have to.
All right. So we're still working on ours, getting it to work.
Yeah. Here's the problem with the chroma key. This is the wrong color.
Practice. Right click.
Oh,
If I make the color white, then anything white on the screen is
Right. You have to resume and enter.
right. Yeah, why is it white?
So why is it white?
All right, let's, here, we're gonna,
Okay. Let's
All right, go ahead and start those robots.
yeah.
Piano might be doing the field. I'm not
It
sure.
was set on resume, so to resume the browser.
All right, so they're resetting real quick as it started a bit, so they wanna make sure it's right. We do have 6 minutes matches. Usually we run on a 4.5 or 5 at the most. So we will have plenty of time to make up for this.
Okay.
I'm seeing thumbs up. We're gonna try this again.
All right, 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, there we go. All right, so 244B's aim was a little off on the red side. Looks like on the blue side they've got 2 towers. I can't see the third. Nope. They got all 3, so they would have gotten a home row.
Blue with the advantage. Go ahead and pick up
So these are, if you've never, for autonomous, if you get your home row, you get a bonus win point, which affects your standings and how it works. So you're going to see a lot of really fast with these teams. Once again, this is what you should expect. With the 2-on-1, you'll see a little different. These teams are mostly seeing if the robots work, but they're also cycling stuff just to practice. So if you've got one robot that maybe isn't working as well, and you've got one robot that's working great, that's what you're seeing Blue doing, is basically they're just following the one red robot around and recycling it. So they'll have one robot just kind of going around, doing whatever they feel like. You can see right now they're kind of scoring red also. But what they do is you just follow the one working robot around and change out their towers, because you can. So 248E, they're making sure all their stuff works. So they're trying their ejector out the back. They're trying the normal thing. So you'll see a lot of, almost every robot here is what we call a combine type robot, in that it cycles in with an intake off the front on the bottom. It goes up the tower, out the top, and into it. So you're seeing lots of teams. They're just kind of messing around. So, because again, these are practice. You want to make sure some towers are easier for certain robots. These combine types, which all three on the field are right now, they generally do best with corners. They can really cycle the corners fast. The center is usually the most difficult for them to hit, and then the sides are in between. Depends on their setting. So we'll see what we're doing.
The teams will have you disconnect the controllers, and you can drive the robot over to you. And then you can grab your robot.
So we will be back here in a minute. We're going to go to commercial while we wait.
It all began a year ago today. We put 5 trash cans outside the Grandville Robotics Center with Robodog returnable stickers on the side, and we began to collect cans and bottles to support our Grandville Robotics teams. It began as a concept. Maybe we could generate some money to support our teams during this global pandemic by collecting returnable cans and bottles and returning them. Perhaps people would drop returnables off to us and give us another way to fund our program in a year where corporate donations have become sparse and everyone's had a tough time funding our teams. What started as a concept has been a very good thing for our teams. We've collected thousands of cans and bottles each month, plastic, glass, and aluminum. We've returned them, and we've returned them by the truckload. We are one of the largest recycling centers now in the state of Michigan. Our kids have sorted thousands of these each month. Our parents have sorted thousands of each month. And last month we said, help us bury the bin. Help us fill this thing up. Here's what it looks like now. We are trying to get to 1.5 million cans and bottles, and after 4 days of the community bringing things in one final push to put us over the top, it looks like we're almost there. If you look at the number of bags that are piled around and on this collection bin, this has been the most successful push for cans we've had in the last year. Thank you so much to our community for all the support you've given us. Here's a final update for this year's count.
So we're here on the backside of the bin, and we asked you to help us bury it, and that's exactly what you did. You buried this bin this week. We passed 1.5 million cans yesterday. We're at 1,520,000 cans and bottles in our first year. That's more than $150,000 to support our robotics programs here in Grandville. Thank you to everyone from all over West Michigan that's brought us 1.5 million cans and bottles in our first year. We're headed into year 2 today, and we're headed for 3 million next year. Thanks for your support.
Why am I seeing? Oh, I'm on that one. I'm like, let's do this.
It's rebooting. You might have green now.
Give it a second.
It's debating. Oh, we're probably on. So, welcome back. We're trying to fix something. There we go.
That's looking great.
All right, we're trying to get it so you can see the teams on the bottom of the screen at the same time. So that's all we were trying to do. Now it will show you on the bottom left and bottom right. Bottom left will be red, bottom right will be blue. In this match, we have 355E. They are joining us from Illinois Fox Valley Robotics. E was actually Illinois State finalist. And they are teamed up with 9364B. 9364B is out of Brentwood Academy in Tennessee. I did not talk to them to see how they did. I have to go find that out. So they are one of the top 100 in the United States, I should say. So I will have to find out how they did in their tournament. They are on the red. On the blue, you will have also from Batavia 355V, and they are the Orange Mambas, I believe. Yes, Orange Mambas, also from Fox Valley Robotics. And they are paired up with 2011F, 2011F. They were Ohio State finalists, and they won the State of Ohio Excellence Award. So they are, wow, they are the highest ranked team here in the United States. They are the 4th ranked team. So let's see how this goes. This should be entertaining. We got a couple of really high ranked teams here in this one. So, which we'll be saying all day, so I won't try not to say it again. Other than there'll be a lot of teams here who are all very good. So to give you an indication, only one team does not have a winning record, and it's by 2. So these are all, but they actually had really good tournament records. So they might not have had great qualifying, or they could have had a couple bad and they just improved as the year went on. As there are quite a few teams here that I am familiar with out of Grandville that maybe didn't have a good beginning of the year, but actually came on extremely strong and really had a great year overall. Looks like we're almost ready. So one thing we do here in Grandville is to show people that it is autonomous. We actually have the drivers set the controllers on the ground, so they aren't even touching it. It is all on their programming. Whoa! So they can throw a ball. I didn't know that robot did that. So that was different. So let's see if they interfere with each other. Both red teams look like they had issues. Oh, and blue drove across the line. So even though blue got their home row, I don't know how that would work for, it's practice, so this is when you want to find that. We'll have to find out how that would affect, because the blue side would have won a win point. So how would that have affected them in this tournament? So that's kind of an interesting question to find out. So one of these robots, it looks like 9364B is, they might be the only what I would call defensive robot here. So this will be an interesting combination to see how that goes. So they have the right color. Okay, they're red, so they're paired up another red. All right, so let's see what happens. You're seeing a little bit of pushing. It's not really a defensive this year, so that makes it interesting. So we will, yeah, they'll have a little bit of scoring showing up, but I don't, as you can see by how fast, there in 5 seconds, I just watched 3 towers change possession. So we will not, I will try not to say who's got what, because that'll just get annoying as the day goes on. But right now, blue seems to have a distinct, we'll see what happens, see what red can do to come back. But you've got some, what do we have on the blue? So we have 355V. So in the U.S. rankings, the blue teams are ranked 4th and 105th. The 2 red teams, they're, I am 95th and 180th, but the 180th is actually, they're ranked lower than their teammates, but they were the ones that were finalists at state. So, like I said, you have one bad match, and that can really drop your rankings here before the state. So, let's see what we got right now. The officials are all adding up the score. Once again, I'm looking at, I don't see any rows really. They did a good job of destroying rows, but I see a couple blue rows.
Again, this is where I'll tell you guys, you can disconnect your controllers. That should enable you guys to be able to drive, so you can drive the robot back to you. But please don't do that until I tell you, because I want to be able to score.
So what the head referee is telling them is that once they have it fully scored, they do ask them to disconnect, drive their robots back, and then they can pick them off the field. But sometimes they don't connect well when they come back on. So it'll die. So then you just have to ask the referee, and they'll come and bring it over to you. So we will be coming back in a minute with practice match number 3. Okay. All right, so this is the schedule. You can see approximate times. So we do go to almost 5 o'clock, and then you'll see it rolls over, and that 10 o'clock is it is tomorrow morning that we will be back here for this. So you will see the qualifications rolling through. So in practice match number 3, who do we have here today? So we'll come back to the match. All right. This is practice match number 3, 11124R. They are the T-Rex push-ups out of Ohio. They've been having a good year. They have a 76-35 record and are 117 in the U.S. They are paired up with 288A. This is one of those teams that really, as the year went on, kept getting better and better. They are currently ranked 26th, and they won the State of Michigan Excellence Award. So they had a phenomenal end of the season and really shot up these rankings. On the blue side, we have 9364D. That is the Iron Eagles Doge from Brentwood Academy in Tennessee also. So there's 3 teams from Brentwood here today. They are paired up with 2011E. So that's Exhaustion. They're out of Brecksville, Broadview Heights, and that's Broadview Heights, Ohio. There are 4 teams here from Brecksville, so they had quite a good year also. So it looks like we got 2 controllers on the ground, three controllers on the ground, just waiting for one more. So if you look at how the teams are standing, there's an area in the middle. There's actually tape on the floor to tell them where to stand. Each team sits at a corner. So that was something we usually don't say, the head referee doesn't usually say, is they do ask not to play defense during the practice matches because we don't want somebody getting damaged during a practice match. During an actual match, you're going to be bumping and people are going to be bouncing and pushing. During the practice, we do ask that stays limited. All right, red side cycles 2 towers. Let's see if they get that middle also. Blue's got, red does get the home row, and it looks like blue does indeed get the home row also. So we'll see what happens here. So a nice little bump. Oh, they bumped it in, and then blue team pushed theirs out and put theirs in. So trying for the quick little term. So again, you're going to see these robots cycle very quickly. So the blue team actually just cycled out and cycled the tower for red. So a lot of times they aren't that worried about how they do in this practice. All they're doing is making sure that all the functions on the robots work. So sometimes you'll see some of these will actually eject a ball out the back. Some of these have vision sensors. Some of these have a separate button. You hit one button and it throws the ball all the way out the top. You hit a second button, it actually just throws it out the back. So they're here. One thing they're doing is making sure that those buttons do what they want them to do. So they are checking to make sure that all their controls work, everything like that for practice. Because again, this is practice. So they want to make sure everything functions the correct way. Now, it's always good for the drive practice too, because it gives you a good idea. You're going to start to see really quickly what some of these robots are capable of doing, how fast they are at doing it, because that's one of the big things. Can they do everything, and how fast can they do it? So you're seeing most of these robots are pretty quick. You can see how fast they can cycle, just a few too many times. So they'll just keep cycling until they get it right there on that top right corner. The blue team was cycling blue. They accidentally cycled it to red, so they just kept rolling through. So you probably can't quite hear two of the teams. And that's it. So the referee will score it. I am seeing a lot of red right now. So I see at least 2 red rows. From my angle, it's sometimes blocked by the team. You'll see we did raise the field this year for this tournament. We don't normally do that, but we only set up 2 fields, so it's a lot easier to put 2 fields on risers. It gives a different feel for the drivers. It really lets the head referee have a great view from where he's at. And it kind of reminds the teams not to reach in, honestly. So, all right, we are putting the score up.
Just so we can get into that rhythm. It is your red, and Alliance takes this one 40-6. So now go ahead and disconnect your controllers. You should be able to drive your robots right back at you. If you can't, just give me a holler.
All right, we'll be back in a minute with qualification match number 4. On the field on the screen right now, we are also running skills on the next field. So we are seeing what we've got. So any score over 100 is generally a good score. Now you're going to see that most teams are over 100 by the end of today. So we've already had a couple teams one team get a full perfect run. So then it'll come down to programming. So I'll have to look at the world rankings for skills, and the state rankings for skills, but I know we've got some very highly ranked teams. So I'm going to go back and go through that during one of these breaks, and I'll put where some of these teams are for skills. Because I know we've got at least one state champion in skills, and I'm going to go find out if we had any others, because I'm guessing we do. So, all right, looks like we are about ready for practice match number 4. In practice match number 4, we have 248D. That is Dauntless out of Grandville. They have had a very good year. They are 64-34, and they've won quite a few tournaments that I know of. I know they've won a few excellence awards. They are paired up with 98725B. That is Falcon. They're out of Rochester Hills Christian School.
But who did?
Also, on the blue side, we have 288C. That is the Nerd Herd. They're out of Grandville. And they are paired up with 536C. That is Life out of Xavier High School from Appleton, Wisconsin. Their record this year is 41-4. That is unbelievable win record. They are currently the 24th ranked team in the state of Michigan. So let's see. One team missed. Oh no, are they going to get in the way? So one of the teams got issues with their robot. The red, it seems like they mostly worked. They had a little bit of issues finishing it.
We do have a red row right in front of me here, right at the top of the audience. So go ahead and pick up those controllers. Red will take off
They're just
on.
making sure how
And we'll start driver control in 3,
robots
2,
are running
1,
and what they
go.
might do. Oh, almost said 288C almost went over backwards. So a lot of times they'll put wheel bars in the back to make sure they don't. But it looks like they might not have theirs on. So that could be something that they'll fix later on. Or it just lets them go a really long way. Like I said, sometimes following 288C, watch them try and hit one of the ones. So they hit the corners very well, but they do struggle a little more on the side. You're seeing a little more traction bumping. The one red team just threw a blue ball. He scored a blue ball in the car. Now they switch it back. Like I said, this is what practice is for. They're making sure their robot does what it is supposed to. That's the whole point of it. And we also find out, like we did when we started, we had an initial issue with one of the fields. So that had to get fixed. So they're chasing balls around the field. You're seeing quite a few changes quick. They're waiting to see what they can do. So here you see in top right corner, 536C. It's just very calmly driving around, picking the ball up, throwing it in. So their intake. So you'll see a bunch of different intakes, whether they use the flippers, some use wheels. Almost every robot here, it might be all but one robot here, is what we call the combine type, where they stick the balls out the top. So some kind of a combination where it's almost a wheel, but it actually has flippers attached to the wheel to get a better grip. So you're seeing lots of changes. You'll see blue right now has 1, 2, 3, 4 rows. So I think blue will win this one. But again, it's practice. This is teams getting used to it. Referees double checking stuff. So they see if people are touching, because on that top left corner, what they're looking at, the robot is touching that red ball, I believe. They're going to do a paper test, is my guess, to make sure. If the red robot is... Okay, red is not touching it. So if red would have touched it, that would have given blue 2 more rows. But they are not. So that broke 3 rows, actually. Or no, broke 2 rows. So that's where it's important. So you'll see the refs get down. That is actually one thing that's nice about the elevated field. Checking that, instead of crawling on his hands and knees, he just has to get down.
All right, we have
So here we have a score of...
It is your blue alliance will take that one 35-12. So go ahead and disconnect your controller.
All right, when we come
drive
back,
those robots right back at you so you can get
we
them.
will have practice match number 5.
It all began a year ago today. We put 5 trash cans outside the Grandville Robotics Center with RoboDog returnable stickers on the side, and we began to collect cans and bottles to support our Grandville robotics teams. It began as a concept. Maybe we could generate some money to support our teams during this global pandemic by collecting returnable cans and bottles and returning them. Perhaps people would drop returnables off to us and give us another way to fund our program in a year where corporate donations have become sparse and everyone's had a tough time funding our teams. What started as a concept has been a very good thing for our teams. We've collected thousands of cans and bottles each month, plastic, glass, and aluminum. We've returned them, and we've returned them by the truckload. We are one of the largest recycling centers now in the state of Michigan. Our kids have sorted thousands of these each month. Our parents have sorted thousands of each month. And last month we said, help us.
All right, welcome back. Practice match number 5.
All right,
On the red side, 288F.
down for my blue alliance red. They're still
He is 68 and 35 on the year. They actually had an awesome beginning. The last two tournaments were kind of rough for them, so they saw their ranking. They actually dropped out of 250 down to 126. They are paired with 248C, that is concrete, also out of Grandville. I should have stated that 288F is out of Grandville. So 248C is out of
Go ahead and pick up those
Grandville.
controllers. Blue got their home row. They'll get the 6 points of autonomous advantage. We'll start trial control in 3, 2, 1, go.
I'm sorry. They, on the blue side, on the blue side, I have 244D Dutch. They are from Grandville. They, for the state of Michigan, not only were they state champions, they won the skills tournament. They are the 11th ranked team in the U.S., and they have a record of 96 and 16. Two things, they've played a lot of tournaments, but they've also won a whole lot of matches. So they are paired up with 4410B. 4410B is the Technocracy Bravo out of South Eden Robotics. They are the Wisconsin state champions. So they were on that alliance. They're out of St. Cloud, Wisconsin. So on the blue side, we have two state champions going right now. So interesting to see what happens later. So they're all cycling. We're seeing how fast they can do it. Watch that top left corner right now. There's a little bit of issue with the corner pulling that one out. We got it fixed. So notice he just throws the reds in, but make sure that you'll see a lot of that with these combines. Looks like 248C actually had a problem. That's one of the reasons for these practices. We find out if we've got an issue. So you're probably going to see a lot of blue towers. It's going 2-on-1. It doesn't always matter how good you are. At this stage, you're probably not going to win. So what you do is change as many as you can and see how it works. So they just pushed 248C. Oh, 248C's got a little bit of motion back. Just no motion to block that tower off. Well done. So they're trying to see what's going on. But they got it to work. Oh, and it's a blue tower. All that defense, and it's a blue tower. They were trying to block it because it's really hard to see in that bottom left corner. But of course, if you just look at it, it looks like all you can see is a red. But there's a blue ball that's actually sitting on top of the ring and is wedged in there. Even though there's two balls on the same level, if one of them is wedged in there, because of that half-inch ring, they are sitting higher and they will control the tower. So it's kind of a weird thing. But you will see a lot of towers decided by that. So we will come right back for practice match number 6. And we'll go back to, we have different commercials we're throwing that you will see. And that the one I'm going to put on is for our can drive here in Grandville. Obviously, with everything going on, we haven't done as many things as we usually do. Oh, so we got a big change. This is the skills up. You can see one of the teams did manage. They have a top score for driving. 126 is the highest you can get. But on their third programming run, they got it up to 110. That's amazing. So we'll come back in a minute.
you are.
All right.
All right. Never mind. They're here.
We thought we'd lost another one to a Worlds interview, but so we're gonna have to pay attention for that during the tournament. How this goes. So here we are. Practice match number 6. On the red side, we have 2011.
Gosh, man.
Is Bruh from Broadview Heights High School out of Broadview Heights, Ohio. They are the 51st ranked team in the U.S. currently. They've got a pretty 57-35 record, so they're obviously having a very good year. They are teamed with one of their fellow school teams.
All right, looks like we're finishing up repairs in the field here. So, but the teams, when you get your robot on the field, get the program started, get your controller on the ground. Lets us know you're ready.
Also out of Broadview Heights, Ohio. On the red side, we have 288D. They are Jake from State Farm. They're here from Grandville, Michigan, so they just had to drive down the road. And they are paired with 9364G. And that is Iron Eagles Gamer Squad. Brentwood Academy out of Brentwood, Tennessee.
You know what? You guys will probably get a hang of that by about the elimination matches tomorrow. And then go back to Ohio and then you won't have to do it. But that's okay.
Actually, head referee is talking with the teams because most of them are not used to setting their controllers down. Grandville we started a couple years ago because it really shows.
There we go. There's
especially
our first one. So
this
we
might
are
be hard
ready
to
for
see
all done here.
online, but in the stands, it's very obvious to them that it kind of shows off that these teams are not doing it them, they are not driving. These robots are doing it themselves. Well, it looks like Jake from State Farm has something wrong with theirs. So it looks like red teams are home now.
Go ahead and pick your controllers. That will
a little
be
bit of issues with the
red
robot.
autonomous advantage. They got
So
their
we'll
home
see what
roll over here.
happens.
So look at the 6 bonus points. We'll start driving control in 3, 2, 1, go.
So again, if you are not familiar with it, autonomous is 6 points, and those points will become very important as you see these competitive as the competition matches begin. You will see how important. Oftentimes, skills will be the deciding factor. It will change the way teams play because if you win skills or the autonomous portion of it, you do not care about rows. Every row, this game is basically tic-tac-toe in that you want rows. Every row is worth 6 points. Getting a ball in a tower is worth 1 point. To get control of the tower, your ball has to be the highest ball, but yet below the level, there are 4 rings. You really can only see 3. 1 is actually floor level, effectively. And there is a big jam up in their top left
All right, next up
corner for
is
you.
practice match 7.
So what they want to do,
We have a
you'll
couple
see
teams
generally
that
get
still yet
3 or
to see
4
the
balls in
field.
a tower. If it is above the level of the tower, that top bar though,
And
does
then
not
2
count.
teams
So that
that
top
are
bar
welcome to play a second match
has a bunch of
if
reds,
they'd like.
and you pick one out to
9-3
drive.
E and 3-5-5 E.
So what you want to do, if you own that tower, you want to keep control. And obviously a row, like I said, is 6 points. But winning autonomous is 6 points. So each row is worth as much as autonomous. But if teams are very even, if you win autonomous, you just need to make sure you have as many rows. And that will help you win. So obviously the center tower, you not during practice, but in the final 10 seconds during actual matches, watch that center tower because it will go crazy, quite honestly, as teams will try and take it over. You will see some interesting defense. You will see a lot of crashing, a lot of pushing as teams try to win that set. So it'll be interesting. So especially teams at this level, autonomous.
All right, let's see that final score. Good
important that is.
47-1. They did take it. Go ahead and disconnect
That is
drive
one of
those
the
robots
biggest
to the
items.
side. Eject any balls you may have. And we'll set this up for our last practice match.
All right, looks like we're getting ready. 47-1 red one. We'll come right back. right, welcome back. This is our final practice match. We're just a little bit behind from one, so with a few field issues, but that's all right. Obviously, we got 6 minutes between starts and matches, so we'll have time. On the field, 244A. They are out of Grandville. It's Viper. They are currently the 20th ranked team in the U.S. They were part of the State of Michigan Alliance. They won it with their fellow Grandville team, 244D. They are currently 20th ranked and have an 83-32 record. So again, they played a lot of matches.
Qualification rounds.
They are teamed up with
Right into
9
qualification
6
match number 1.
That is Iron Eagles Doge. I gotta find out how to say that name correct. Out of Brentwood Academy. They're in Brentwood, Tennessee. They are going against 355E.
All right, get those plugged in. Controllers on the ground when you're ready.
Eagle out of Fox Valley. So 2 of the teams have been in a match before. Their final team is 7567C. That is Pius 3 out of Grand Traverse Academy, Traverse City, Michigan. So they were the ones previously in the interview for Worlds. So they are out of their Worlds interview, so they're able to make a second practice, or able to make another practice match. So they have had a pretty good year, obviously, so they're going to Worlds. So let's see, looks like Doge is, no, 3465E is double checking their robot, something on it, making sure it's lined up. Now, this is an interesting design. And it literally, when the robot starts, it pops up and it just flings that preset into the tower. So watch that on that center right tower. That's what they do. It'll be pretty interesting.
All right,
let's see how it works.
down. Let's see how it's on here. 3, 2, 1, go.
And just like that, it drops it in. Oh, the red team spins it out. They got one to work, but it spun out of the other one. And then it stopped.
Go ahead and pick up those
So
controllers.
red got 2, blue got... Blue might be touching.
That's what they have to do.
So now they're doing counting, because each has 2.
There's another one. Oh, are they touching both?
Oh, so they're touching, so that's what they got to find out. So it might be a tie. We'll see what we get. Again, this is practice, so it's a good practice for the refs. So they need their practice.
Make a call. Okay, so it's blue takes the odds.
Blue gets it because they are touching. It turns out
3, 2, 1, go.
Yeah, it's practice. They can figure it out. So like I said, some of these types, they'll struggle with that center. So they spun it out, they got it to work. But you'll see at the top, the blue team was struggling getting that ball out of that middle tower. Like I said, a lot of times these combine type intakes are super fast at the corners, but they struggle with the sides. So let's see, we got Viper just racing around. You'll notice when they get going, they are actually an extremely fast robot in general. So not only are they fast at what they do, but actually the robot itself is just incredibly fast. So it looks like 355E is almost as fast. So there aren't many robots as fast that I've seen out here as Viper. So 355E is right up there with them. So that's impressive to see. So the motors, there's generally 3 different types of motors teams can use. And they're
all right, we should see qualification for qualification match number 1.
how much torque they generate or how fast they are. Motors give different speed versus lower power. This year, pushing power isn't really as important as there's been other years where you need to be able to shove someone out of the way. And this is not one of those years in general. So you'll see a lot more speed than you might have in previous years. So you see there are some extremely fast robots going on out here because of that. So what you'll see is you've got 2 team units out. Some teams send up 3. And you'll have the driver, and generally what we call a a second person
288F
assigned as a
and
drive coach.
2011D.
And that person's job is to watch the whole field and then tell the driver where to go. Because obviously it's tic-tac-toe, so the corners break a lot of roads, just like the center does. So their job is to suggest to the driver where to go to help them score the best.
We got a final score. Let's see that.
So you
Let's
want
see
to
it.
stay pretty close and not
It is
drive
your
all over
Blue
the
Lions
place.
will take that
But
one 20-5. 20-5, the
also
Blue
wanna
Lions
make
take. So
sure
go ahead and
that
disconnect.
you're breaking
Drive those
roads
robots
'cause you wanna
aside
win.
to eject
So
any
that
balls
is
you
the
may
role of
have.
the
We'll
drive
reset the
coach.
field.
So that's
And
why
good
there's more
luck
than
in
one person
qualification
on the
round.
field. Generally. Some teams only send up one, but mostly they'll send up more than one. So again, as we start our qualification matches, we are going to have this up where it shows our first matches in qualification.
All right, those teams in match number one, qualification match number one. Again, your Red Alliance is 248C, 355V. Your Blue Alliance is 288F and 2011D. You're welcome to the field. All right, again, a reminder to everybody, we are publishing all the results, the rankings, the skills, the schedule out to robot events, which then goes to VEX Via, and I've just been told that yes, VEX Via is actually working. That's a good thing.
All right, welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is the Midwest VEX change-up. So this is kind of, we've got schools from all over. There's Grandville, Michigan, Batavia, Illinois, Appleton, Wisconsin, Broadview Heights, Ohio, St. Cloud, Wisconsin, Traverse City, Michigan, Brentwood, Tennessee, and Elyria, Ohio. So quite a big wide group. Some teams, there are obviously quite a few Grandville teams. So there are also 2 from Batavia, Illinois. There are 4 from Broadview Heights, Ohio, and 3
Qualification
from
match
Brentwood,
number
Tennessee.
one. Look at that, all 4 controllers
All right,
are on
match
the
number
ground
one.
already. Everybody into their driver's
C.
seat now. A little last minute
That's
adjustment.
concrete on the red. They are paired up with 355
Good,
feet
good.
orange Mambas.
All right, they're all good. So let's
288F.
start these qualification rounds.
Goblin
You 2 need to
out
get
of
in your driver's
Grandville is
stations.
paired up with
So we're going to start stopping back
201D.
here.
That's
And so we're going to see Autumn here in
Broadview
3, 2,
Heights
1,
High School out
go.
of Ohio. Broadview Heights, Ohio. Let's see what they can do. We should see a lot of good scores here. And 2011D had an issue where it just cycled everything, so they did not get that power. It looks like the red team did get
All right,
their
it is
home
going to be
run.
advantage to your Red Alliance. Win point to your Red Alliance. They got their
So
home
red
run here.
point.
So everybody
Red
got their
gets
controllers in
what's
hand.
called
We're going to start driver control in 3,
You
2,
get
1,
control
go.
of your home run. You get a bonus point. It's a bonus win point, so it greatly affects your percentages. So again, this is one where if you've got a bunch of really highly ranked teams, which we do this year, this is a very, very competitive bracket. You're seeing a lot of teams in the top 200, top in the United States. So there is a lot of great teams. A lot of these teams have had great years. So you're seeing some unbelievable teams. So you're going to see great competition. Red wins the autonomous. So that is 6 points, and that's going to cause problems for other teams. So there you're seeing, you don't see a lot of defense, but you're seeing a little bit of defense right now. I don't think that'll help blue too much because I'm seeing a lot of red towers. And red won autonomous, so that's 6 points. Every row is worth 6 points, so blue needs at least one row just to make up for it. So blue has a lot of work to do to make up for it. Red's got a big advantage, and red's having they're just having a really good round right now, it looks like. So they're basically following around the blue robots, making sure that... So they just, one of the red robots actually just took the center away from themselves. So right now, but red just took 2 towers. You're going to see so fast changing. Who just control the towers really quick, just like that. They got a lot, and they did a little pushing, just like that. You gain control. Just like that, red takes the middle also. Wow. They're going to try and get this corner super fast. And just the last second, which breaks up a blue row. I do not see, so this is where that autonomous is so critical. It does not look like we have any rows. So that becomes a ball count, except for the fact red won autonomous. So that is why autonomous is so incredibly critical. In that with no, actually red has a row. Red's got a guy also. So you will see once the official score comes in, it looks like red will win this. But we will see. So here so this is why we've got some extra time. If teams have any questions, they can talk to the referees. So that's what one of the blue teams is doing right now. And so these robots have to find out. So they have to be built to have to be able to crash into each other. So they've got to be able to interact. They've got to be able to hit. You can push people around. You can't pin, but you can push them across the field if you want. So they're seeing what they're doing. They had a question. The referees are talking. One of the referees did see it. So that's one of the main things is they want these teams at this level of the event, they want them to ask questions. Now, not the coaches. It's the teams that have to ask the questions. So that's the discussion. And now they're going to give an explanation. So we'll see what they come up with. Right now it looks like a red win, unless something did happen that they decide to change it. So we'll have a little bit of delay while they get that fixed and figured out. So we'll see what happens over here.
That's pretty good.
So they're still talking. They're seeing what to do. So hopefully we'll have. Sorry about that. They're making sure the camera's set up right. So we're just doing a little bit, see if we can get a little better angle there for you on the match. Let's see what happens. So obviously there's still a lot of discussion going on.
I think it'll be fine. I think we should be good. I don't know if it'll be fast, but
So 21-8 red, but still a lot of discussion going on. So we'll see if we get an explanation or not. I don't know if it was from interaction, because you have to interact with other teams. So we're going to go to commercial. We'll come back with qualification match number 2. We'll see if I can get some answers.
Everybody's good. We're waiting on one team over there.
That's match. That's match affecting. It's a breaches, and it goes directly against G12. Well, you know how they're going to call it.
All right. All good. Let's see Auton in match 2 in 3, 2, 1, go.
On the red side, 2-0-1-1. They're one of our Brecksville teams. They're Exhaustion. They are paired up with 2011B. It's Bruh. On the blue side, we have 9364B. That's Iron Eagles El Diablo out of Brentwood, Tennessee. And they are paired up with 248D Dauntless out of Grandville. So let's see. They're trying to check, see if red got it or not. Blue did not get their home row. Red.
So there's definitely an advantage to Red Alliance here.
Red Alliance will win the autonomous section. So now Blue's got to make up for. So quickly, Blue gets a couple changed over. They've got something we haven't seen much all year, but the one blue team, the 9364B, is pretty much a defense. So their goal is going to be to de-score as fast as they possibly can. Now, unfortunately for them, they didn't win autonomous. So that's going to be an issue. They are amazingly quick at de-scoring. The problem is they've got to score some. So let's see what they can do to score. Their teammate's doing a good job scoring, so they're just going to keep wiping it out. But can their teammate get a row? Because the problem is the red team just needs, if no rows are scored, red wins. So Blue's got to get something going on. That top left corner, there is a lot of balls jammed in that corner. So you notice that they just left it. It might look like red has that top left corner, but actually blue has it. So you've got the red teams trying to cycle. And the one blue team actually just pushed both red robots out of the way. So that worked very well for them. So like I said, defense is pretty unusual. So red does score another. That top left, looks like red's got an advantage right now. We're in the final 10 seconds. We'll see what somebody does. Somebody score. They're just going to de-score. Lots of de-scoring. But I don't see a blue row. What's that bottom right corner? I can't. It looks like it's red, but I can't quite see it. Yep, that one's red. Otherwise, blue would have had a row, and then it would have been a ball count. But as it is with autonomous, final score is very low scoring. 10-6. So again, that's where how important autonomous truly is. All right, we will come back in a minute with qualification match number 3. Did. I'm like, there's a breeze that comes right across on my paper. I'm like, will you stop? Oh, that's what keys are for. There, now I got it. Oh, it's not playing.
It all began a year ago today. We put 5 trash cans outside the Grandville Robotics Center with RoboDog returnable stickers on the side, and we began to collect cans and bottles to support our Grandville robotics teams. It began as a concept. Maybe we could generate some money to support our teams during this global pandemic by collecting returnable cans and bottles and returning them. Perhaps people would drop returnables off to us and give us another way to fund our program in a year where corporate donations have become sparse and everyone's had a tough time funding our teams. What started as a concept has been a very good thing for our teams. We've collected thousands of cans and bottles each month, plastic, glass, and aluminum. We've returned them, and we've returned them by the truckload. We are one of the largest recycling centers now in the state of Michigan.
And of course, that whole match, I managed to hit the mute. So, my apologies. So again, red had the advantage in autonomous to begin with, and they carried it through the match. It can be difficult to make up that difference. All right, we will come right back.
In our first year, we're headed into year 2 today, and we're headed for $3 million next year. Thanks for your support.
It all began a year ago today. We put 5 trash cans outside the Grandville Robotics Center with Robodog returnable stickers on the side, and we began to collect cans and bottles to support our Grandville robotics teams. It began as a concept. Maybe we could generate some money to support our teams during this global pandemic by collecting returnable cans and bottles and returning them. Perhaps.
All right, we got the teams here on the field for qualification match number 3 or 4. My apologies. So in match number 4, we have on the Red Alliance 248A World Qualified out of Grandville Robotics. They are paired up with 244B, also out of Grandville. That is it eventually yet. They will be going against 9364G. That is Iron Eagles Gamer Squad out of Brentwood Academy, Brentwood, Tennessee. And their teammate on the blue side is 536C. That is Life, Xavier High School, Appleton, Wisconsin. They have had a very good year. They are 41-4. That is quite the record. It looks like all the teams are ready. We do put the controllers on the ground. Looks like a couple people are talking. Looks like one robot. They're just double checking, making sure they got it lined up right. So some teams you will see actually bring what we call a fixture, and it sets their robot in the right spot every time. So they line that up so they don't have a mistake. So let's see what they can do. So they're having a little bit of issues with it. All right, now we got thumbs up. Let's see what these teams can do. All right, red just misses on one tower. They do miss on another tower. Nope, they've got it. Can they pull it out? Can they get the center? They get the center, so they got 2. This is going to be a ball count. It looks like blue has 1 row. Blue's got a row, that bottom row. No team with a win point. So this is blue with it. All right, so again, red's got to make up for it. So what can they do? So you're going to watch teams. Some teams go counterclockwise. Looks like the 2 blue teams are going counterclockwise. The red teams look like they are going back and forth, whether it's clockwise or counterclockwise. 248A is having a little bit of issue with their intake. Both blue robots seem to be doing pretty well, just going around the field. Little miscommunication. They'll crash into each other occasionally. So the red robot there, you saw they cycled, but they kept 1 ball in their tower because what that allowed them to do was go to the next tower where there wasn't a red and take it over. So a lot of communication. Can you talk with your teammate? How do you make sure that, 248A just spit one out? They can't quite get they got the tower emptied, but they wasted a lot of time trying to take it over. So they do indeed take it over. So now they're going to walk their way around, grab another tower. It looks like the red robots have split the field. One takes the top, one takes the bottom. Blues they're both kind of driving all over the field. So a little different strategy from them. So they're kind of going where they think they need to go. So it'll be interesting to hear. Blue at the end, what we're at. Looks like I don't have my timer, so I can't quite see. Last 7 seconds. Who gets one in? Does somebody get one in the middle in the last 7 seconds? Red's trying to pick up. That might be the difference. I see 1 row. That gave blue a row. So with autonomous, actually blue might have 2 rows. That bottom right looks like it's blue also. If they're not touching, which it doesn't look like they are, it looks like blue will win this match. We'll wait for a final score. Blue has 3 rows. With autonomous, Blue will definitely win this match. So let's see what the final score is. 35-6. All right, we'll be back in a minute with qualification match number 5.
Thank you so much to our community for all the support you've given us. Here's a final update for this year's count.
So we're here on the backside of the bin, and we ask you to help us bury it, and that's exactly what you did. You buried this bin this week. We passed 1.5 million cans yesterday. We're at 1,520,000 cans and bottles in our first year. That's more than $150,000 to support our robotics programs here in Grandville. Thank you to everyone from all over West Michigan that's brought us 1.5 million cans and bottles in our first year. We're headed into year 2 today, and we're headed for 3 million next year. Thanks for your support.
It all began a year ago today. We put 5 trash cans outside the Grandville Robotics Center with RoboDog returnable stickers on the side, and we began to collect cans and bottles to support our Grandville.
Match number 5. On the red side, we have 98725B. They're Falcon out of Rochester Hills Christian in Rochester, Michigan. Rochester Hills, Michigan. So I need to get that correct. They are different. They are also teamed up with 4410B, Technocracy Bravo, out of South Eden Robotics Club out of St. Cloud, Wisconsin. They were the Wisconsin state champions. Going against them, 288A out of Grandville. That's 288A is Alpha. They were the State of Michigan Excellence Award winner. And paired up with them is 244A Viper from Grandville also. They were on the state championship team for Michigan. They were on the Alliance. So quite the rankings in this match. We have 2 state champions and a state excellence award winner. Should be an entertaining match. Let's see what they can do. So far, every team that has won autonomous has won. Oh, Blue just missed on one, so that'll hurt them. Looks like Viper had a total misfire on theirs. Red got one in. That's all that matters. Red wins autonomous. They have the home row, so that is that win point. So that's pretty huge. Like I said, that win point will play into the qualification selection matches eventually. So let's see what teams can do. Red just misses the center. Blue got the center. So now you're going to see teams, whether they go clockwise, counterclockwise, how are they doing? What are they trying to pick up? What can they pick up? So you see Alpha there on the left. What they did is they actually grabbed an extra one just to have it. So some teams will knock out a ball. Others will just grab it if there's one still in there. So you're seeing some very good teams right now. Right now, Blue's got kind of an advantage going, which they need. Can they break the streak of teams who lost autonomous winning a match? So Red almost threw a Blue in, but it just spun out for them. So Blue is taking over some towers and just grabbing them. So what can they do? So Red's going for that center, and it just spins out on him. Blue grabs another tower. Red get it to work. A little bit of bumping. Red Alpha just followed 98725B and immediately dropped it on. So they're trying that again. Blue, unfortunately, just threw the ball out. Red finally gets that center tower. They've been trying that most of the day. Alpha's having a little bit of problems now. The other Blue team, 288A, throws one in the center to take control of it. So we've at the last second, it doesn't spin in. One of them goes in, one of them just misses. But they broke rows. Unfortunately for Blue, they needed a row. Do they have one? Looks like Blue has that bottom row. So now it becomes a ball count. This will be very close. So could this be the first time that the autonomous winner does not win the match? Let's see. Here we are. Blue did come back 17-13. Oh, there was 2 blue rows. I missed 1 row, so that was the difference. So, all right. So again, we had some great teams, 2 state champions in that match facing each other, a state excellence award winner. Just some great competition here today. You're going to see a lot of close matches. So up on the field, on the screen right now, we had very quickly the schedule, so we'll try and occasionally give that. We'll also grab rankings. Qualification match number 6. We have on the red side 288D. Jake from State Farm out of Grandville, Michigan. They are paired up with 11124R. That's T-Rex Push-Ups, Elyria High School out of Elyria, Ohio. Then on the blue side, 7567C. That's Pi is 3 out of Traverse City, Michigan. And their teammate is 288C. That's Nerd Herd out of Grandville. All right, so let's see what happens now. They're just getting their final setup. Each team, red and blue, each are getting 1 robot setup. The referee's double checking, making sure that they're legal. So you'll see their robot is leaning over the white line, but as long as they're not touching past the white line. They can touch the white line, but they can't be past it. All right, here we go, autonomous. Red gets 1 in the middle. They turn. And can they get the corner? It's not firing. And blue had 1 misfire. They've got 2 towers. But the other robot looks like it crashed out. So by ball count, there's 2 towers each. Nope, it looks like blue's got 2. Blue's got a row. So blue will have the autonomous win. Again, no win points for either team. Let's see what driver control does. So blue does get going, and they do get their tower. They complete their row. Red is going around. They're both completing their row. So that's one of the other advantages of autonomous is you can immediately go somewhere else because you no longer have to score on your row because you've already got your row. So very quickly, blue's gone across, red's gone across. Oh, wow, look at red. Red has quickly changed the complexion of this match. One of the blue robots is having a little bit of issues. Now they've got it going. Unfortunately, they were having a little bit of struggle with their outtake, is what we call it. And so, unfortunately, while they were struggling, their teammate wasn't getting many either. And right now, red has all but 2 towers. So let's see what they can do. Red D-scores that top left tower. So red, remember, blue had autonomous. So let's see what we got. Looks like one of the red teams is now having some struggles with their outtakes, missing. They keep knocking it out themselves. So what can they do? They're just pulling it out of there. There they go. So they got to find all the red balls. They got to pick a couple up. Oh, and they just miss again. Final 14 seconds. Let's see what happens. So now the red team's got a couple rows going. Right now they have quite a few rows going. They're trying to break up the last. Blue breaks a row. I see 2 red rows right off the bat. Blue is not touching. I do not see a blue row. Blue did break up 2 rows when they put one in that middle bottom area. But unfortunately, red with 2 rows, that could be the difference. Oh, I'm sorry, red has 3 rows. They did throw one in that middle left row. So it looks like red will make up for losing autonomous. But we'll get the final score to confirm. They're making sure that they got enough. So in that top left, there's actually, it looks like only 1 blue ball, but there's actually 2 in it. 28-15 red. Red did come back. So they're doing a little fixing of the field as these robots bash around. They hit the walls pretty hard a lot of times. And so every now and then they will reset the walls as they reset the field just to make sure something's not off. So they want it to be square to the world. All right, qualification match number 7. On the red side, we have 2011F. That is FaZe Clan out of Broadville View Heights High School, Broadview Heights, Ohio. So they were finalists in the state of Ohio, and they also won the Excellence Award for the state of Ohio. So they've obviously had a very good year. Paired up with 9364G. That is the Gamer Squad Iron Eagles out of Brentwood Academy, Brentwood, Tennessee. On the blue side, we have 355V, Orange Mambas, out of Fox Valley Robotics, Batavia, Illinois. And they are paired up with 2011B. That's Brecksville, Broadview Heights, Ohio. So we got a couple teammates going against each other. So you see these teams are trying to get it lined up exactly right, because the last 2 matches notwithstanding, you have a big advantage when you win autonomous. So that's what you want to win. One of the big reasons is win points. Now how a win point works, if you get your home row in autonomous, you get a bonus when it counts for your percentage at the end of the tournament for setting up for elimination round. It's a win. It counts just as high as a win. So obviously it's pretty huge. All right, looks like teams are ready. So you see some of the teams aren't used to it. They had picked up their controller and they're like, oh, wait a second, I'm not supposed to pick up my controller, so they quickly put it down. Red's got 1 team going for the whole home row. Can they did it? They do. Did both teams get their home row?
Look at this. This is a great outcome for all 4 teams here. So, even the
Let's check out the score.
Great down the all those balls are clear to their opponent as well. Everybody
It is a tie. Both teams get a win point. Both teams get 3 points. They each cycled the towers completely. That is very well done. So let's see what happens. This should be a very interesting match. So you see how quickly these teams are trading towers. So do they go top or bottom? How are they doing it? They do cycle another one. Oh, just miss. So looks like blue and red this time. Both teams have 1 robot on the top, 1 robot on the bottom. Wow, look at how fast they are cycling. Push one out of the field. So when they went to pick up the ball, they kind of jammed it and they picked up the other teams, or shoved the other teams out of the field. All right, you are seeing some very fast change. Unfortunately, both red teams are in the same area. So that hurt them a little bit as they had to get away from each other. So look at this. Look how fast these teams are swapping towers. I'm not going to try talking to say who took what tower, because generally every 5 seconds at least 2 or 3 towers have changed. Driving around up the top. They are just picking up that top row. They might finally go for the middle. They do. So they had been leaving it alone. So right now they're getting to where they're just trying to grab towers. Oh, there they go. They got it. A little bumping and trying to take it over. They do. We've only got a few seconds left. Can't knock out that center. So that gave it to blue. So here, if you look at it, red and blue are both at the same level. The top left corner, that'll be interesting. How does that score? Because that could be, they're both the same height. It's a tie tower. But that gives them a row. So blue might be slightly higher. So they did the paper test. So they are both on the edge, but one of them is not jammed as higher. That gives blue a row. That row might be the difference. Oh, no, blue's got bottom right also. That actually gives blue 2 rows. So with the tie, that's pretty critical. We'll wait for the final score, but it looks like blue has the advantage. So that's where it can be so critical. One ball, that top left corner, it looks like red and blue are the same height, but the blue is slightly higher. And because of that, if red would have been slightly higher, red would have had a row. Instead, blue has 2 rows. 27-9. That was worth 2 rows. So a huge difference. Well done, good match. So that can be the difference in one tower. All right, back. Match number 8 in qualification. 536C. That's Life out of Xavier High School, Appleton, Wisconsin. They are teamed up with, on the red, 9364B, El Diablo, or Iron Eagles El Diablo. They were in Brentwood, Tennessee. They were a finalist for Tennessee's state tournament. On the blue side, we have 4410B. That's Technocracy Bravo. They were the Wisconsin state champions, paired up with 248E. That's Stardust Creators. They were a finalist in the state of Michigan. So I think I've said all of those at least once, so I'll quit saying that. But kind of helps shows the level on these teams. This is an invite tournament, and the intention was to try and get a bunch of teams that are world qualified here to compete against each other, to keep them ready for the world qualification. So let's see what we get. We are almost ready to go. So it looks like all 4 are on the ground. Let's see what happens. Oh, their shot missed. So they are the D-score robot. So what they do is they actually shoot that first one, and they just missed. Oh, but they can slide across, and they get one in the middle. Oh, but their teammate cycles another. That one across that defensive robot that pushes one in gave them a row. That is huge. So they missed, but they got it. All right, red with the autonomous. That's very interesting. All right, let's see what these teams can do. Again, we'll have an offensive team and a defensive team for red. Uh-oh, looks like blue's got a problem with one of their robot. Now they're going, all right. So it looks like it had a failure during autonomous. So Stardust Creators are having a little bit of issues, but they're back to running. So let's see what they can do. Blue team's running into each other. So what can they do? So you don't want to do that. You don't want to slow yourself down. So that's why it can be so important. Some of these teams have never met, so they're not used to each other. So you got the two blue teams crashing into each other, and they're trading sides. So earlier what you saw was some of the teams, one will take the top, one will take the bottom. Or they'll both go, I've seen them where they'll both go clockwise or both go counterclockwise. Because the goal is you don't want to be you don't want to interfere with your teammate. And if you're right next to each other, you're basically going for the same goals, and that'll slow you down. So Stardust Creators is kind of, well, they actually crashed in their own team. So let's see what they can do different. They've got to get a couple balls right now. That defensive robot's got a lot of balls on the field. So that's something a lot of these teams aren't used to, is they're used to pulling balls out of towers and cycling them. The difference is that defensive robot, 9364, I can't see the number, D scores like crazy. And since they won autonomous, that's pretty important. I don't even think there's enough balls on the field to make up for the autonomous. So they're checking to see. So if they win autonomous, that's where autonomous is so important. They just keep descoring. They just don't want a row, and there are no rows. So they don't care what happens, because with no rows, I believe this will be red. We'll see what happens. So referees are explaining what happened, the discussion. If you are touching your own colored ball, that will not count. So let's see what we get for a final score. We've got a final of 12-2 red. So the defensive robot came through on that one. All right, when we come back, it will be qualifying match number 9. And here are the standings as of right now.
All right, qualification match number 9. Come on out to the field, get your robot set up.
Okay, a qualification match number 9 on the Red Alliance, 2011D Dipstick. They're number 10 in the U.S., so obviously they've had a great year. Their partner is 288C, that's Nerd Herd out of Grandville. 2011 2011D, they're out of Brecksville, Broadview Heights, Ohio. On the red side, on the blue side, sorry, we have 244B. That's Is It Eventually Yet out of Grandville, Michigan. And their teammate also out of Grandville is 288F Goblin. So let's see what happens with the autonomouses. Can the team score their home rows, get those all-important win points, and getting the 6 points? So we'll see what happens. I believe 2011-2011D does the entire home row. They're autonomous. They'll generally ask their partners to turn it off, and they will cycle the whole thing. So let's see what happens. So they cycle 2 out of 1. They get it red. Blue has them both spin out on the top. Blue gets it, but red gets their home roll. Blue had a failure. So red autonomous win with the win point, which are very critical. Look how fast, 2011D, they just drove by, backed that ball into the red. Now 2088F, they backed their own blue ball in, knocking the red out. That was well done. So watch how fast these teams are cycling each other. Unfortunately, both blue teams kind of ran into each other, so they're not quite in each other's way, but so now they're going to drive around. Are they going to follow? So let's see what they can do. So we'll see what these teams how they talk it out. So Blues D-scoring. So let's see. 2011D is really scoring fast. The red teams are kind of running into each other, kind of getting each other's way. But it doesn't look like it's hurting them too bad. As blue continues to cycle back, cycling back and forth. Uh-oh, 244B looks like they just died. Oh, now it's working. They lost comms. So that's pretty important. We got 20 seconds left. What can they do? You'll notice the teams have traded randomly that center tower. They just descored the center, so no one's got center. Nope, red has center now. Red still has center, so can blue do something to break that up? It looks like no one has the center now. I'm not really seeing any rows, which hurts blue. Blue needed a row. So it looks like when 244B had that issue, it hurt them a lot. So it looks like they might have to do some repair work on the field here. So it looks like red will have the win on this, but we'll see. So it looks like we'll do some repair work here after this. So red gets a win point, and red does win the match. All right, we'll come back in a minute. We're going to have to take a slight break while we do some field repair. You want to go to in match for me, please? Could you swing it to in match for me, please? Thank you. All right, match number 11. After match 13, we will be going to lunch. So we'll have about a half hour, 45-minute break. I should know that number, but I don't have the schedule in front of me. So it'll be at least a half hour break. Here in qualification match number 11, on the red side, we have 244A Viper out of Grandville. They are paired up with 9364D. That's Iron Eagles Doge, one of the Brentwood Academy, Tennessee teams, Brentwood, Tennessee. On the blue side, 2011E Exhaustion, Brecksview Broadview Heights High School. That's Broadview Heights, Ohio. And they are paired with 11124R. That's T-Rex Push-Ups, Elyria High School, Elyria, Ohio. So you've got the two different schools, but two schools from Ohio. So they might know each other. They might have at least played against each other. All four controllers are on the ground. Teams are ready to go. Let's see what happens. There we go. Viper had a little issue last match, but this time they do, and they D-score. And unfortunately, one of the red teams missed. Blue gets the win point, and they win Alliance. 9364D, unfortunately, it just missed the cycle to get that tower. So they've got to go back and get their own home tower. There they go. Now they got it working. They had a little bit of issue. So they tried to jam one in the middle, and looks like they did. So the blue team, they're going to go back right back to that corner and try and take that top left corner. No, they're not going to take the top left corner. They were right there at it. So that was a little surprising. And they spin out and miss. But they do D-score red. Or red does D-score blue there on the top. Unfortunately for them, blue just calmly comes back around 2011B and or F, sorry, and throws, no, that was B. E. I'll get these teams right by the end of the day. So Alpha gets one of the top right corners. Their teammate looks like they're having a little bit of issues, and both blue robots are cycling very fast. So blue with the autonomous advantage, red's got to have a little bit of struggle because they didn't win autonomous, so that's a big issue. And red just sets one on top and it drops in. Now their teammate seems to be running a little better. Unfortunately for them, somebody lost some change. So you'll see that a lot. So maybe that's why one of these robots is struggling. We don't have much time left. 5 seconds. Who can change towers in the last 5 seconds? They at least D-scored. Blue gets a... So what's the score? Blue's got that center tower. I see at least one. That will decide if blue has 2 rows or no rows. We'll see what happens. So blue with the autonomous win, it looks like they will win this one. We'll wait for a final score. Let's see what they can do. So even with the referee in between, blue was doing a very good job at communicating. So that's the difference. Red, I didn't see much communication between the two teams. Final score of 12-3. Very low scoring, no rows. The autonomous was more than the difference. So that's the advantage of the autonomous, is you can just go for, just get rid of rows. You don't care. You've got that 6 points. All right, qualification match number 12. Let's see what we have. On the Red Alliance, we have 288D, Jake from State Farm. They are paired up with 248C Concrete. also out of Grandville. Actually, all 4 teams are Grandville. They are all very familiar with each other. They're probably sick of each other at this point because they've been playing against each other for so long. And all these teams, most of them are world qualified. I'm not sure if all of them are. So on the Blue Alliance, we have world qualified. 248A out of Grandville Robotics and 244D Dutch, also out of Grandville. So let's see what these teams have. We'll see if 244D last time did a home run where they went all the way across. They went all the way around and did it themselves. So I'm not sure if they'll do it this time. So part of it depends on what their teammate does. But they are getting full cycles, so it seems to be pretty advantageous for them to just go all the way around. They're just double checking, Concrete's double checking that they are ready. Looks like they are. Making sure the programs are set. All controllers are on the ground. Now they are. Red drops one in. Oh, Blue's got one on the tower. They do cycle it. Red has a miss. Red just missed. Their teammate does cycle. Blue does get the win point also. Went all the way across and ran it. So that's also a big advantage in that they don't have to spend time scoring. Just like that, Blue hops over, gets a couple towers. So he's going to go pick up a couple balls, get what he can do. Just like that, spitting them out, going along. So Reds, they're having a little trouble with that tower. Playing a little bit of defense now by Blue. They're struggling to get that ball out of that bottom. Now they got it. So now they can cycle the tower, but unfortunately for them, that spent a lot of time. Blue's basically waiting for Red to change the tower, and then they take it back. So now you got a lot of Blue's playing a little bit of defense, trying to stop Red from scoring in that top left corner. They didn't, so they just take it back. So right now, Blue with the autonomous, so that tower's moving. This is going to be a problem for Red because not only do they have to, Red's trying, and they do knock one out of the middle. 248A seems to be having a little bit of issues. Now they got it working. Their teammate just comes over and immediately takes control of a tower really quickly. 244D just cycles so fast. That is why they are so highly ranked. They're playing a little bit of defense, getting a little bit of the way. Oh, just enough of a bump that Red cannot knock out that central tower. Blue has a lot of towers. So I see one blue row, two blue rows. Actually, I can't see one tower. Nope. So 2 blue rows, but they had the autonomous 3. Yep, they got the center. Just got the hand signal from the team. Blue team, that yes, from Dutch, that they do have 3 rows. 37-6. All right, and we are on qualification match number 13. This will be our last match before our lunch break. Here are standings as they are right now. So let's see right now. Here are the rankings as they are right now. So we'll leave this up until we get ready for our final match before lunch.
It is 12:05. We're pretty close to on time. We're going to
All right, let's see what we got.
1:15 will be the resumption time after lunch.
If you can't hear that, 1:15, we will start with qualification match number 14. So we'll have about an hour break. To make sure you hear this more than once, after this lunch break, we will actually come back on a different feed. It is called, it's the same tournament, but it'll say 5-1 afternoon qualification matches. So this way, it's about, you get about 2 hours on each feed so that we don't have problems with too big of a feed. So we'll see what happens. All right, they are just getting ready. Qualification match number 13, 1-3. Not on the Red Alliance, 98725B, Falcon out of Rochester Hills, Michigan. 355E, that's Eagle out of Fox Valley Robotics, Batavia, Illinois. 7567C, Pi is 3, Grand Traverse Academy, Traverse City. And our final team, 9364B, that's Iron Eagles El Diablo, Brentwood Academy, Brentwood, Tennessee. So we got 3 states represented. Blue just missed on one. They're going to try and get that center, though, which they do manage to get. Unfortunately for them, they had a failure on the rest of them. This will be an interesting count because they de-scored, but they scored one. Blue's got one extra. It looks like blue. Red's got a row, though. Red didn't break that initial row. So let's wait for what the score is. The referees are not used to it. They missed one of them. They totally missed the home row was still red. All right, red with the autonomous win. So blue's got to make up for it. Let's see what they can do. Oh, 7567's having a little bit of issues with their robot. Now they just, oh, it falls out. So they're having a little bit of issue with their combine. Their teammates doing a great job of quickly de-scoring everything. Unfortunately for blue, they can't just de-score. They've got to score. And unfortunately for blue, the de-score, they got a robot that de-scores really fast, but unfortunately their teammates struggling with the scoring. So because of that, red might have a very large advantage right now, as they have almost every tower. Blue is de-scoring, so unfortunately they're having major issues with their intake. So the one blue robot that can score, now they get it working. All right, that'll be better for them. Unfortunately, red won autonomous. So while 9364B is very fast scoring, the problem is they've got to get a row, or the ball count has to be different enough that they have to fix it. So blue's working on it. Blue's almost got a row up here. Let's see if they can get this row on the top. Oh, nope, no, the red team's already changed it over on them. So can anyone shove one? That bottom tower's got a little bit of damage going again, causing some problems for teams. Just like that, I see a red row. I see 2 red rows. I do not see a blue row. So red with the autonomous and 2 rows. Looks like they will win this final qualification match before lunch. And that is a reminder, we will come back on a different channel. If you search for today's tournament, you should see 2. There's a morning and an afternoon. After lunch, we will come back on that afternoon channel. Let's see what we get for a final score. Red 23, blue 4. So let's see what our, so it will say 5-1 afternoon qualification rounds. So we are signing off now at 1:15. We will come back on the 5-1 qualification round afternoon for Midwest VEX Changeup. So thanks again for joining us. Hope you have a good lunch, and we will see you on the other channel. Have a good day. Thank you. We will leave up the standings for a little bit, and then we'll come back and shut this feed down.